Imagine what will happen when a police officer's dream turns into a heart-wrenching farewell. Witness the unbreakable bond between Officer John and his beloved horse, Charlotte, as tragedy strikes during a routine patrol, leaving everyone in tears. A dream come true. A few people were walking in downtown Houston, Texas, when they saw something unusual. They spotted a police officer lying on the street with his horse facing downwards. They didn't know the sad backstory behind it. It began 6 years ago at the Houston Police Department in the USA. Officer D. Herrera John was one of the policemen. He was fortunate to have a wonderful companion named Charlotte accompanying him, so he didn't have to patrol alone. The Unbreakable Bond. When John laid eyes on the horse for the first time, he instantly fell in love. The policeman couldn't believe his good fortune to be able to patrol the streets alongside such a stunning and majestic mare. The two formed a well-practiced team, navigating everything together. They experienced thrilling adventures and warmly interacted with children who adored petting the horse's nose. Charlotte joined the Houston Police Department at the tender age of 2. Despite her youth, Charlotte displayed a natural talent and excelled in all her exams. She found immense joy in her role as a police horse and couldn't have been happier. Likewise, John's childhood dream had materialized, and he arrived at work each day with a beaming smile. The tragic accident. For 4 years, a horse and a policeman formed a team and worked together. They sometimes engaged in mischievous acts, like the day they entered their colleague's office just to say hello. However, everything changed a few years later on December 3, 2015. Officer John and his horse, Charlotte, were assigned their usual duty of patrolling the streets, ensuring public safety and providing assistance as needed. Initially, their patrol started like any other day. They calmly walked through the quiet streets, checking on things. However, a sudden turn of events occurred when they reached a busy road. Charlotte, who was 6 years old at the time, became frightened. Although she was usually composed, the high-speed cars passing by scared her. She began to pace anxiously. Officer John attempted to soothe and regain control of the horse. Sadly, Charlotte was too terrified to heed his commands. Eventually, the police officer lost control, and the horse threw him off the saddle, fleeing into the traffic. In a series of incredibly unfortunate circumstances, Charlotte ran directly into the path of an approaching cement truck. The truck driver was unable to stop in time and collided with the terrified animal. Within moments, Charlotte lay on the ground, injured. A heartfelt farewell. John, who saw everything happen, quickly rushed to his horse to check if she was okay. Unfortunately, she was hurt. Despite his own injuries from being thrown off, John refused to leave his horse's side. He lay down beside her and cradled her head in his arms. He whispered gentle words to calm her down and called out to someone passing by to call a vet right away. The horse was breathing heavily and seemed unable to stand on her own, which deeply worried John. When the vet arrived, he examined the horse's condition. While the vet worked, John stayed with his horse, Charlotte, and tried to comfort her as best he could. He stroked her head and feared for her life. Sadly, the vet had bad news. The impact had severely injured Charlotte's back leg, and the injury couldn't be fixed with surgery. The only way to free the horse from her tragic situation was to euthanize her right there. John was devastated, but he eventually agreed that it was the best course of action. He held Charlotte tightly and stayed by her side until she peacefully fell asleep. At that moment, the policeman couldn't hold back his tears. Even the people who had witnessed the whole incident struggled with their emotions. In the days following Charlotte's death, the Houston Police Department shared a post on Facebook expressing their deep sadness at the loss of Charlotte, an HPD horse. Charlotte had faithfully served the people of Houston for 4 years and would be remembered by many. That's all for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.